Welcome to Arcadiology, episode 27, featuring Wizard Fire. Join us as we uncover artifacts from the arcades. My name is Brad, my co-hosts are Sky.
Hey.
Kyle.
Saw dudes.
And Jordan.
And Jordan.
There he is, the one and only.
The one and only.
Well, this is the first of our 2 Halloween episodes this year. Sure you noticed by our sick intro we used from last year. It's the same one Sky made for us, so there's a little treat for you guys. This one's more of a fantasy game here, but it's got some overlapping Halloween themes. I thought we could, if I can come up with any excuse to use that theme again, I'm going to do it.
I mean, half the enemies kind of fit the theme.
For sure, yeah. But we'll get into that in a bit. Let's talk about some other games that we've played. You guys been playing anything else lately?
I've still been playing Deadlock. I think I mentioned it on the last pod. Nothing really has changed on it. It's a super early closed alpha testing, so it's a lot of just balancing and stuff they're doing. So you kind of gotta get in there and just play it like it is. There's a lot of broken characters and broken items, but it's just trying to get feedback and stuff on it. So it's still pretty fun. But that's all I've been really doing.
There's still tons of people in there.
Yeah, there's still pretty huge audience for it. Games are all almost instant matches, so it's going well.
Dang, nice.
I've been playing a pretty old game me and Kyle used to play a lot back in the day called Dragon Nest. I just randomly got back into that. I saw they have it on Steam, so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll jump on Steam. It went away for a while, and I think they brought it back, and I played it for a little bit, and then I forgot about it again. And just I don't know, a week or so ago, I just randomly scrolled through and saw it, so I was like, I'm just going to jump back on that and play it a little bit.
What is it?
It's an online MMO. It's not really massive at this point. It's kind of a dead game, but it looks like it's kind of coming back, but it'll probably never be as big as it was when it first launched.
So it's just an MO now.
It's just an MO. I don't think it's... Yeah, you got to drop that massive off of it now. But it's pretty much just your standard MMO. Run around, do quests, party up. It almost feels like... I mentioned Dungeon Fighter Online quite a few times that I've been playing also, previous episodes. It kind of feels like a 3D MMO version of Dungeon Fighter. Just the way all the skills you get, just the way you control. It just feels like if you took that game and just made it 3D.
And that was a beat 'em up game, right? It's kind of that style of combat.
Yeah, it's real active playing, almost hack and slash kind of playing.
Okay.
But it's not mindless hack and slash. You get just like DFO, you get a ton of skills. There's so many skills each class can use, and there's they have new ones now. I think there's I don't know, wild guess, maybe there's 15 classes now or something crazy like that.
Jeez.
Same with DFO, there's a ton of classes on that game. So there's a lot of variety and stuff you can do.
I've been wanting to get into another MMO. I haven't played one in forever. In theory, I really want to play it, but when I sit down and think about it, I'm like, man, I'm going to have to sit here and grind. But
yeah.
I don't know. Something about it makes me want to play.
It's the time investment.
You can hop on there and play some RuneScape with me and get banned.
I'm not playing with you, man. I got to avoid you.
That's fair. They have it out for me.
Yeah, it does seem it seems fun in theory, and then when you actually go to download something or look at something, you're like, man, I'm gonna have to put all my time into this.
Yeah,
I can't do anything else if I want to be somewhere in this game. But I'm playing it more casually right now. I'm not going crazy on it.
That's the only way to do it.
Yeah, you can just sit down, jump in, run a couple dungeons. So far, I haven't even played with anybody. I've seen people in the game, but nobody around my level. I think most of the people in the game now have already been there for a while, or they came back before I did, and they're already max level, so they're doing all the end game stuff, and I'm mid game, maybe level 60 or so.
Are you on your original account, or you start fresh?
No, I think all the originals got wiped a while ago, so I started a fresh one.
Okay.
Mainly what I'm I'll see people in the towns every so often, but I'm running every dungeon by myself. I'm pretty much playing a solo game at this point. I still like it though. I just enjoy the combat. It's real active play. I picked a healer class. I usually like playing supports in those kind of games. Not crushing everything. I'm doing decent damage, but I just like the little micromanaging of skills and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I remember when we started this game when it first came out, Skylar and I played it so much that the reason we quit was because we played it so much that we did all the content that it had at the time, and there was literally nothing for us to do. So we were oh, we'll just put it down for a while and come back to it when there's content. And then it ended up just going away.
Yeah, then it disappeared, man. Yeah. We never got to play it
But
again.
I do remember it was you had one of those your typical MMO issues where it's when you're trying to do like the end game content at that time, like the raid boss or whatever, that like everyone, it's like 90% of the player base is like the Slayer class that just wants to do damage to everything. So it was like really hard to find a group because everyone was looking for either a cleric or like a paladin. So I remember Skylar and I made those two characters. So I think he was the cleric and I was the paladin. So that way when we would look for a group, we would get like instantly invited to every group there was. Because we were like the two classes you needed that no one wanted to play.
Yeah, I think it was, I don't even know, it wasn't still like in beta or something, was it, when we played? Or was it just out of beta?
No, I actually can't remember. I mean, it was super early on.
I think the level cap when we played was like 24, like super low.
I don't know if it was beta or not, or just came out of it.
But like we just did everything up to the point where the only thing we could do was like, they call them nests. The game's called Dragon Nest, so their raid thing is called a nest. You just go in and fight like the big boss or whatever. But you could only do the nest like once a week. So literally once we did that, we'd go in, do it for one day, and then we couldn't play the game for a week.
Dang.
But yeah, I've been just casually playing that on and off, so I'm having fun with it.
Yeah, sounds fun. What about you, Jordan?
Not a whole lot different. Still some of the same stuff from the last episode that we talked about. I think the only kind of new addition here today is since I'm pretty much always playing like 7 different Pokemon games at once, I've picked up Pokemon X again on my Steam Deck, which I did not touch the settings. I don't know how this happened, but like the 3DS games on the Steam Deck look absolutely amazing. Like they're not pixelated at all. The graphics are super smoothed out. So I'm kind of playing like an up-res, super good looking version of Pokemon X on my Steam Deck, which is
nice.
I have to say, X and Y, second best generation of Pokemon after Gold, Silver, Crystal. I will die on that hill for sure. I think X and Y are kind of what got me back into Pokemon again in my adult years. So I decided to pick that one up again and take it for another run.
So you're trying a different run? You're trying a different team, or do you just have like a standard ones you always go to?
Oh, I always use something different every time I play. I try to use pretty much, I try to have a full brand new team of 6 every time I play any Pokemon game.
Keeps it fresh.
Yep, exactly.
In that game, is every single generation available, or do you still have to like trade between games and all that?
You mean, I guess every Pokemon available?
Yeah.
I think which one was it? I want to say it was maybe like Generation 8 or something from the Switch where they started like really limiting it. I think in 6, pretty much for the most part, almost everything up to that point is available. Then once we got to like those newer Switch games, they were kind of like, hey, there's a lot, so you're only going to get so many of them in the game. So have fun with that. Yeah, in X and Y, I don't know how many there were in Gen 6. If I'm just guessing, I'd guess maybe around like 700-ish or so. Which is,
Jeez.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it's over 1,000 now. I'm almost positive. Now they're in Generation 9. It's gotten pretty out of control.
Yeah, some of them now, like I haven't seen all of them, but every here and there I'll see like a new Pokemon. It looks like they're getting a little bit ridiculous now. Like,
there's some interesting ones.
Some of them just don't look like that original.
Generation 5, I feel like, is pretty notorious for having some pretty crazy looking ones. Generation 5 is the one that has the ice cream cone and the trash bag.
Yeah, that's like really stupid to me. Like, how's that a monster? It's just a trash bag.
Generation 6 has a key ring with actual keys hanging off of it.
Yeah,
I love Gen 6 though, man.
I think maybe even Gen 1, maybe the first 3 gens or so might have had 1 or 2 kind of silly ones.
Oh, yeah, every generation has, yeah.
But now they're doing like house appliances. Like, that's not a Pokemon.
Like, bro, like, we're out of ideas, dude.
I feel like
I know, it's at a certain point.
Most people's gripe when it comes to Generation 1 is that a lot of the designs are just so basic. Like, this one's just a bird. This one's just a mouse. This one, Voltorb, is just a ball. Like, and then they got to the later generations.
I know some of them
are
kind of dumb.
Okay, now we have a sword that's a Pokemon. We have a keychain. We have an ice cream cone, a trash bag, the kind of crazy stuff like that. And like, at first, I was definitely like, wow, these are really dumb. But now, like, I don't care. It's whatever. I mean, it's gotten to the point now that there are so many that you could probably show me some Generation 9 Pokemon, and I'd be like, I don't even know what that is. I've never seen it before. There's a bit too many now. And I just don't like the Generation 9 games anyway, so that'd be another reason why I might not know some of them. But I just think I feel like it kind of peaked in Generation 6, man. So I'm just playing that again.
I feel like even though it's basic, like Charmander or whatever, like Squirtle, he's a turtle. Like, you know what he is, he's a turtle. I think that's still better than like, I don't even know what they have now, like a paperclip or something stupid. I don't know.
Not yet, but maybe next gen.
Just random dumb things, you know what I mean?
Clippy.
That's probably not one of them, but you know what I mean.
You just gave him a great idea.
Game Freak on the phone. Oh, hey, Brad, speaking of Pokemon, did you see that Power World finally got sued?
Yeah, I saw there was something.
Really?
There's some weird stuff going on with it. I didn't look too hard into it, but I heard Nintendo like went back and like changed one of their patents, and somehow in Japan or wherever it's at, they're allowed to do that and still sue. There's some weird stuff going on.
I have
with that.
no idea.
That sounds sketchy.
I don't know much about it.
You can't go in there after the fact and sue. That's grimy.
I feel like from what I heard though, it's more about like some kind of like gameplay mechanics that they're suing over rather than the fact they just blatantly stole some of their designs. I don't know the whole story. I kind of just saw that it happened.
Yeah, the extent of my knowledge was like a Facebook comment, but I mean, someone said that I think it was something to do with like the Pokeball idea. They have that patent or something, the way to catch a creature in a 3D space in a sphere or something real specific like that.
Ah, okay.
Interesting.
Man, they're getting really technical with that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They must be feeling really threatened on that game. Jeez.
I didn't even think people still played it.
Yeah, I mean, it's still got a following. Just like any game, it's going to get a huge spike in the beginning if it's popular, and then, you still have your core audience that are sticking around for it. It's not like it fell off completely, but, the big hype train left, and now it's just like the core people still playing it.
Yeah.
I can say I haven't played it in a while, but, yeah, it's still downloaded.
How do you catch stuff in that game? Is it also, did you say they use like a ball too?
Yeah, yep. Very similar to a Pokeball.
So they kind of screw themselves doing that.
Yeah.
Because I think there's other games, like if you just change what that object is, you'd probably be okay.
Yeah, you still catch them in balls, and there's still like different rarities of balls that give you a higher catch chance.
See, they should have made it so you got to catch them in a cube. Then they would have been safe.
Yep.
I think that would have been legit. It probably would have like legally protected them. Because there was an old Xbox indie game, if you guys remember, called Indymon. I used to play that.
Indymon?
But in that, it was called Indymon. It's pretty much Pokemon, but on Xbox Live Arcade back in the day. But you capture monsters, it's the same thing. They have really like cool monsters too. But the way you capture them is with cards. They call them indie cards. Like that's all they need to do. You throw a card at them to catch them.
Yeah.
So it's not a ball, so Nintendo can't jump on them.
Fair enough. More power to them.
So I don't think you can cooperate just the mechanic itself of catching something with an object. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Got to draw the line somewhere. You got to let someone do something else similar.
That's interesting though. Curious to see how that turns out.
That's on Power World though. Like the balls on them to just be like, we're gonna take like everything they've done and just not change anything.
Yeah, they were pushing it way too much. But yeah, anyway, that's it for me. Bottom line, Generation 6.
So wait, would you say? So technically, Nintendo has them by the balls.
Yeah.
You ready to get going, Brad?
Yes,
Go ahead and
do.
just end it right here and our suffering.
All right, we'll move into my turn here. So I have not been playing Power World, but I've been playing this game called Electhead. It's another 2D side-scrolling platformer. It's more of like a puzzle game than platforming, but it's a super short game. I beat it in like 2 or 3 hours or so. But the main mechanic is your character conducts electricity. So like when you touch a surface, it like adds electricity to it. It generates like power. So when you touch it, it'll like activate a platform that start moving. But if you jump, then that platform's no longer moving. So you got to like, use your character to conduct the electricity and move in like the right way so that you can travel from one spot to another. It'll also have like negative effects, like there'll be like a wall of electricity that activates and it'll like zap you. But then like pretty early on, you get an ability to throw your head, and that's what actually conducts the electricity. Electhead, get it? Yeah. But after you throw it, you have like 10 seconds to pick it back up before you die. So you got to figure out like the right spot to toss your head, so it'll like turn on something, you can get across and get back up to your head and pick it up so that you can get through without dying. Some of it gets pretty tricky, some of the timing. They have some really clever puzzles. Like I'll be standing there looking at something. I'm like, dude, there's literally nothing else I can do. I have no idea. And then all of a sudden it clicks. It's like, that's it. I mean, that's the best part of the game. Once it clicks and you're like, oh man, it's so satisfying when you figure it out. Because sometimes you got to like throw your head, and your character's body's like really small. So once you throw the head, you can fit through like a tiny little like tunnel. You'll have to like go through, come back around, do like a little bit of platforming, grab your head, and then you can go back up over the other side without it being too small. But yeah, it's a really fun game.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, they just took like that one mechanic and like they played it out. Like they did everything you could with it. Each little puzzle, like each room, feels a little bit different. So it's not like you're really repeating anything. But in like 2 or 3 hours, you get a lot of content out of that one little thing. I mean, just looking at the game, it probably wouldn't look that interesting. It's just like real plain. It's like 2 colors, so there's not really like it's not that flashy, but the gameplay of it's really fun. But that was it. I started and finished that game. You guys ready to move in to our arcade game then?
Let's move.
Yeah, let's go.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about Wizard Fire. Released in the arcades in 1992, this is a hack and slash game with an isometric view, set in a fantasy world with magic and dragons. You get to pick between 5 different characters who all play slightly different. You fight through, it seems like endless waves of enemies before getting to a boss on each stage. And this game actually kind of reminded me of Gauntlet a little bit, like the 3D ones anyway. Not quite as in-depth as I remember those being, but feels like somewhere midpoint between the Gauntlet game we just played and like the old school 3D ones.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I mean, I like this more than Gauntlet already, so
I
let's just
hope
get that
so.
out of the way.
Better than the original or all Gauntlets?
Definitely the original.
Okay.
The other ones are cool. Like Legends and Dark Legacy are still awesome.
Yeah, Kyle picked this game also. He picked Gauntlet and this pretty close together. I was like, this game actually kind of looks like Gauntlet. I think this is the game you really wanted to pick here, Kyle.
This is 1,000 times better than Gauntlet, dude.
You redeemed yourself with this pick.
Sorry, Gauntlet fans.
Let's start off with the different characters. As I said, there's 5 of them. There's a knight, a bard, a dwarf, a wizard, and an elf. It does let you change your characters in between lives if you die and have to use another credit. So who'd you guys play as? Or did you just kind of hop around between them? Or did you do like a full play with one character?
I think I started with the elf, and then each time I died, I just picked a new character just to kind of see what everyone was like. And then after I went through like the first round of just playing everyone once, I ended up sticking with the knight. The knight felt like hands down the best to me.
Yeah, I agree there.
That was my exact journey, bro. Start with the elf, test everybody out, and I went back in and just did it with the knight. His like AoE attack just seems too good.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, so I originally picked the knight, kind of just like the vibe I typically go for these games, and I did try both the elf and the wizard for at least one life, and it just really didn't feel like either of them hit nearly as hard. And in this game, you want to clear out the enemies as fast as you can before it gets kind of overwhelming. So the knight seemed like he hit hard enough. I mean, he moved like an absolute snail, but it's okay because he was wiping enemies out really, really well. So I stuck with him for sure.
Yeah, I messed around with most of them. My first play I did like the whole way through, mostly as the bard, and then I came back and did a play as the dwarf and the knight. I think the knight was the best, but I think the dwarf was my favorite. He was fun to play with because he has his attack. You throw an axe, you can throw 2 of them out. They kind of function like a boomerang, so you can kind of get some nice angles if you like throw it out, run behind a wall, it'll like come around and hit some of the enemies on the way back. And his magic was super simple too. Like he just only had 2 spells, and they were both really useful. And I don't know, I thought he was pretty fun. But overall, the knight, he had to be the best with that AOE attack. It just kind of hits everything on the screen.
Yeah, dude, it hits just everything in front of you, both sides of you, behind you sometimes if they're close enough.
He's got that morning star just swinging it around his head.
I thought the elf just felt like a worse bard because, I don't know, it was fast, but its attack was kind of rough to use. And I think the wizard was terrible. That character was so hard to use. The attack was just like straightforward. I don't know. Was not a fan of the wizard in this game.
I don't even think their range was like that much farther either, so I don't see any advantage really to using her.
Here's my question here. So it seems like all these characters, there's only one attack button that I noticed, but it seems like every character has 2 separate attacks that they'll use by using that same attack button. When we were talking about the knight here, he has the one where he kind of just lunges his lance forward. Then he has that one we're talking about where he swings the flail above his head. Do you guys know how to control which one he does? Because it kind of just felt like it was always random for me.
I did it 2 different ways. You can either spam the button really fast, and I found out like that he would sometimes use it, Or if you just wait a couple seconds, it charges up. That's like a charge move.
It didn't seem like it consistently worked that way for me, though.
If you wait like 2 or 3 seconds, you'll see your weapon glow, and then if you hit the button, it'll do like their most powerful attack.
Yeah, I thought I almost exclusively used that attack with the knight where it spins in a circle, and I believe the way it
Same
worked
here.
was if you tap the button, it'll do the single projectile straight out, and if you like press the button then hold it, it'll do the spin around.
So we don't have any like concrete answers here. It's just kind of
Yeah, that's exactly
that's how it works. I played the whole game like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I think if you wait, maybe mine was just the charge attacks. If you wait, your weapon will start glowing. It probably does more damage.
Yeah, I think there's like a bigger attack. Yeah, it's separate.
Oh, so yeah. So what do you do? Just like kind of long press it?
Yeah,
then
you just
for
do a
the
long press.
extra move.
Yep.
Okay.
man.
I got mixed up there.
Yeah, it felt like it was just doing it so random for me. I couldn't figure out what it was that determined it. I guess that's kind of a cool mechanic, though.
But there was like with the, I think it was the elf maybe, or the bard. I don't know, somebody. But if you would like keep spamming the button, like rapid pressing it, then like you would do a couple of the basic attacks, and then it would split into like a three shockwave burst thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you were spamming the
Yeah,
button.
that was a bard.
I think a few of the characters do that.
Is that what their I don't remember what the bard's like long press was though. Is that the same as a long press, just a different way to do it, or no?
I don't even know if he had one. I don't even know if he had a charge attack either. I didn't notice.
Maybe
one.
maybe you get either or. Maybe you have a long press, or you have like if you rapid spam, it does something else.
Yeah, I think it's different depending on the characters. But yeah, like Kyle said, I would constantly do the like you kind of press it and hold it for like half a second, then let go instead of just spam. Like if you want to hit directly in front of you, I just keep on tapping it, and the knight will just attack directly in front of him. But you do that little long press, and it just clears out everything. So I would just kind of inch forward, hit the long press, inch forward, long press a couple times.
I wish
just
I knew
wipe
that.
out everything.
I really wish I knew that at the time.
Yeah, I think it might only be worth it to do the long press because
Yeah.
if you try to spam the attacks, it seems super weak.
Oh, was there a damage difference? I didn't really notice.
Yeah, like I think with the knight, if you let it charge up and then you do like your big swing attack, you can clear a lot of stuff out in like one hit. But like if you spam it with that stupid little straight thing, you're not letting it charge up, and it takes like multiple hits to kill stuff.
Okay.
But the thing is, he's so slow, so like sometimes things
Yeah.
just they walk right onto you. You can't get away from them.
Right.
Yeah, the speed's definitely an issue.
Well, another thing with the characters, on the bottom left of the screen, you have a magic meter that fills up a little bit every time you kill an enemy, or some items will also fill up the bar. Once it's completely full, well, I think you can use it before it's full, but ideally you probably want to charge it the whole way up, and you press the other button, and it activates your magic. And then the meter slowly drains until it runs out, and you transform back to your normal character. But yeah, each of the characters have their own unique transformations. There's a few shared ones. But at first I didn't really understand how it worked. Like I couldn't figure out which spell was being used. Do you guys have any trouble with that initially?
So
Yeah.
so there's like a little book with images in it beside your magic meter, and that's showing you. I don't think you have any control over it. I think the pages in the book just kind of turn every few seconds, and so you don't really have much control over what magic you're picking, but you can see which one you're going to get by looking at the image. And there were definitely some that felt good, and some that I really got frustrated whenever I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't pay any attention to what spell it was. I just knew, like, at whatever moment I felt like I needed to use a spell, then I would just press the button, and whatever I got.
You could get some pretty rough results doing it that way, just randomly pressing it.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed to work out. Like, it wasn't anything crazy, but, like, there were definitely some spells where I was like, I could have been better.
Yeah.
Did you ever turn into a pig and do nothing?
Yes.
No.
Dude, that thing sucks.
Yes. Yeah, and if
You just run around and just get hurt.
I've never seen that.
if you die, you lose your magic meter. So I would be keeping an eye on my health, and if I got down to like a half heart of health left, I would just hit the magic right then and there, no matter what, just so I didn't waste it. And then since I'm not paying attention to what it is at that point, every now and then you'll get that damn pig, and I was pretty sure it didn't do anything. I didn't know if I was just missing something, but your character just transforms into a pig and walks around.
Yeah, there's the spells, how you're saying they cycle through. You can't manually select them, but you can just wait until there's a picture of the one you want. Then you activate it. That's kind of what I did.
Mm-hmm.
The one that shows up as a question mark, it either will turn you into a pig or a treasure chest. And when you have the treasure chest, you hop around. You also can't hurt anything, but you just spit out random items. So sometimes you can get different equipment that way. But that still felt like one of the worst options.
Those were by far the two worst. If I turned into a pig or a treasure chest, it was a bad time.
Yeah, I did get the treasure chest once, and I was like, oh, that was dumb. Like, that's not what I wanted. Gave me like a pile of gold, and I was trying to kill a boss.
Yeah. So now we all pretty much use the knight for the most part, so I'm wondering if we all have the same favorite magic spell as well.
What was yours?
Oh, I'll do the lightning cloud for sure.
Yeah, I think lightning
it was
cloud.
ridiculously strong.
Yeah, it's shredded.
That and did he transform into like that big angel
Yes.
that shot lightning or something?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
I don't know if that one's more rare or if I just like had bad luck, but I only saw that like 2 or 3 times.
I mean, as long as you're paying attention, you can pretty much get whatever you want. I noticed the lightning, it seems to like flip twice before it flips back to like that. I think they called it Paragon was the name of the spell. They each had the same emblem for that one, and that's the one that you had to activate it on. It was like I don't know, some sort of white star looking thing.
Yeah.
But the that one was fun. But whenever I was using the dwarf, dude, he was pretty sick with his magic. The one he just turns into a rock, which you would probably think that sucks, but it's actually pretty awesome. Because every time you would, I think you attack or move or something, you like hop. Every time you hit the ground, it shakes the whole screen and it hits everything on the screen, I'm pretty sure. So anytime there's like a bunch of enemies, you can just use that, and it just like crushes everything. It opens any chest. It like breaks like hidden walls and stuff as you're going.
I got that one with the elf as well, I believe.
Okay. But I bet the elf didn't have like the his other transformation, which was even better. It was kind of like a golem looking thing. It reminded me of the beast transformation from Zombies Ate My Neighbors. It kind of looked similar to that, and had like a similar attack animation. But that thing was ridiculously strong. That was my boss killer when I was using him. I would transform into it like in front of a boss, and you just sit there and just punch it until you get knocked out of your transformation, and I'd rip through like half of a boss's HP bar with it.
Jeez, I didn't get that lucky with him.
You didn't really mess with his transformations too much?
I saw the rock. I don't know if I got the golem, honestly.
Yeah, that was his like Paragon transformation. That seems to be one of the better options for most of them.
I did like the rock though. That thing shreds.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna suck at first. Like, oh, here's another stupid one. We got a pig, a chest, and a rock. Like, this is lame. But the rock actually shredded. But another thing that was nice is whenever you died, a lot of like items will pop out of you. It's usually like I think like 3 or 4 items will pop out, and occasionally you'd get like I don't know what the actual item was. It looks like a little triangle, like a little cone, and that like almost immediately maxes out your magic. So if you'd get that right after you die, you come right back and you're pretty much fully powered up.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how you like just collect those random items. You have like 6 or 7 slots.
Do we know what every single item does? Like, obviously the boots gave you speed, and I'm assuming the fist maybe made your attacks a little stronger. I'm just guessing. But there were like a necklace and a ring. Like, maybe that's something to do with your magic. I don't know.
I thought the necklace protected you from damage or something, unless I was seeing that wrong.
Like you said, the boots make you faster. The gauntlet or the glove makes your attack stronger. There's armor that seems to soak damage. Either you take no damage or you take less damage. And then there's like those little amulets, like necklaces and stuff. I think there's like 3 slots for that. But they just negate different status effects. So there's like poison or like stun and stuff like that. So they stop that from happening to you.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Did anybody ever have a fully kitted out character at one point where you had all 6 buffs?
I have no idea. I didn't
Because
pay
I
much
don't think I
attention.
did.
I think I got 3 or 4 total.
I had all but 1. I was missing like one of the amulets. But it sucks kind of because your stuff can break. I don't know like if it's a certain amount of damage or like even like your boots and stuff will go. Like, it shows all your icons on the top of the screen, what you have equipped. And every time like you're actively using that, like if you attack, the gauntlet item will flash. Or if you take damage, the armor item will flash. And like if you're just walking, the boots will flash. So I don't know if it's just showing you that you're using it or if it has like a hidden durability that you don't know about.
Yeah, it's probably a durability thing. Sounds like.
Yeah, I thought it was weird. I was just walking, my boots are lighting up. I'm like, why are my boots lighting up? I'd stand still and it would stop. I'm like, why does it care if I'm walking?
Yeah, what is it? I guess it's just showing you that you're using that item. Yeah, I'm not too sure.
I thought it was cool. You said them necklaces have like status effects,
right?
Or it protects you, but all the characters also have like passive like status resistance if you check the screen when you pick them.
Right.
And I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, not only did they have their different weapons, different attacks, and different transformations, what else was there? There was like immune to poison. I don't know what all the things were, but I think just like the elf was the fastest.
Yeah, I
don't know what the other things were.
I think there's like poison, confusion, and paralysis.
Maybe like your standard D&D stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not sure how useful it would be to stick with one of those because, I mean, it'll be useful maybe for one section or one kind of enemy. And then you're not going to be able to use the rest unless you die and change characters.
Yeah, it seemed a little secondary. That was kind of a bonus you get for picking your character. Didn't feel like that's something you want to pick a character over for the most part.
Yeah, for sure.
I think this is the only other game other than Bucky O'Hare that had like in-game voice acting. They kind of did a similar thing with the cutscenes there, with like showed the actual characters talking and stuff.
Yeah, there aren't a whole lot of voice-acted games back in those days.
I could see why this one felt a little cheesy on the voice acting.
Oh, it was so cheesy.
Yeah.
I loved it though.
They usually are.
The dwarf was like, I did not expect that voice from him.
I was just gonna say that.
Oh yeah.
Anybody who's interested, just picture what you think a dwarf might sound like, and then watch a video of this game and watch the scene where the dwarf is talking and tell me that you ever expected that voice.
I forget now how it sounded.
While scouting the area, I heard rumors that Balmont might still be nearby.
Dude, everybody else is like, all right, well, whatever. The knight kind of sounded like a knight, kind of hefty and rugged, like whatever. They're like classic voices. And then the dwarf said stuff. I was like, what? That's not his voice. Get out
I
of
have
here.
to go back and find it again. I forget.
that threw me off. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, the little cutscenes there, I really liked them. They look like super cartoony, but they felt pretty out of place for how the rest of the game looked. The game was like a little darker and like, that fantasy look to it, and then the cartoons looks like it's like a Saturday morning cartoon you're about to watch.
Yeah.
Dude, it's exactly what it reminded me of. That's crazy.
And the one line, I don't know, I think it was in the beginning, it almost gave me like a Symphony of the Night vibe, like whenever you're fighting Dracula in the beginning there. Like that
Yeah, they show
cheesy
the
voice
castle.
lines. Yeah, it kind of sounded like that.
Looks like Mulov's dark work.
This town was beautiful.
Not anymore, crush his dark soul.
But the best line in the game, did you guys take notice to like any of the dialogue?
Yeah, I wonder if you're gonna say the same one I am.
I bet. Let me hear it. What do you got?
Are we talking about the start of stage 3 here, where I believe it's the bard that says, "Curse it, poisoned water," and the knight says,
Yep.
"I'll smash it to bits," showing that the knight has no clue how water works.
They really played up the big dumb barbarian
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna smash water to bits. All right, bro.
But some of like the on-screen dialogue was so hard to read. They just like overlay it during some of the stages. It doesn't do like a cutaway like those little cutscenes do. It's just green text right over like where your character's walking. You can't even like see any of it. That was kind of dumb.
Yeah, wish they would put like a text box around that, some background, just to be able to read it.
All right, guys, give me 1 second here. So as always, I have a video playing in the background, and the dwarf's about to talk. So I'm about to hear his voice here. I want to hear what it sounds like.
You're in for a
All
treat.
right, hold on 1 second here. He sounds like a very frail old man. He doesn't sound like Gimli at all. What the hell?
I was expecting like a Gimli.
Yeah, it
thing.
doesn't sound like any dwarf I've ever heard.
Dude sounds like he's
I've met a lot of
retired.
I've met a
dwarves.
lot
None of
in
them
my
sound like
time.
that.
Oh, yeah?
Hell, some of my friends are dwarfs.
Do they all carry axes?
Obviously.
Good.
Why wouldn't they?
What else would they carry, dude?
That's a good point.
Well, another thing that kind of reminded me of Castlevania here was the music a little bit. Not quite as awesome as Castlevania, but dude, the music in this game, I thought this shredded, dude. It went so hard with like how heavy the music was in this game. What did you guys think about that?
I actually paused it at one point and just started moshing.
Oh, yeah?
You know, I appreciate some good tunes.
Oh yeah.
Now I have to buy a new lamp.
They didn't have many unique tracks, but they reused like some of the same ones. But dude, I loved it. I love the music the whole way through this game.
This was definitely one of the only ones. Well, not one of the only, but like one of the few where like I didn't just like completely turn the volume off. It's like some of these other games, dude. The music, I'm like, I just can't do it. I got to turn it off.
This game like gets you pumped. You're like, yeah, dude, I'm jamming, I'm killing stuff. All right.
Right off the rip, dude, off the first stage, it's like bam, starts just killing it, dude.
What-
Oh my god,
what's it
let's
like?
go. You heard it, Jordan. You
Do it again. Do it again. I missed that.
that one. Oh man, I loved it.
Somebody clip that. We're using it.
We need one of those soundboards. We gotta put that on it. You press a button, you just hear Brad go, "Da-da-da."
That's the start of every
right.
episode now.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree.
The next intro theme has to have Brad, like a clip of Brad just going, "Ba-da-bam." Welcome to Arcadiology. Ba-dam.
We got you guys all doing it now, so we're gonna have a
Oh
whole
no, you got
You
us.
tricked us,
fell
dude.
right into it.
I'll smash it to bits.
I'll smash that soundbite to bits, dude.
Oh my god.
Well, let's get into the stages here. I'll give a brief rundown of them, and we can kind of talk about if there's anything in specific you guys want to. But the for the first two stages, they're pretty similar. You're in a town that's burning down. Stage 3, you move through a dungeon filled with a bunch of different traps. Stage 4 is like a desert. You got to collect these 2 stone artifacts and unlock a portal, which takes you back to another dungeon-like area because it's more of like a crypt. And then finally, you make it to the last stage. It's on like a floating island in the sky where you head to fight the final boss. Anything you guys wanted to bring up about the stages in specific?
I think the desert stage was like the coolest. It was like super short, like that part of it, but it was the only stage where it was like wasn't straightforward. Like you actually had to like you could kind of go like get in any direction that you wanted to, and you would just start walking, and you had to find like those 2 relic pieces before you could like move on from that area. So it just felt kind of cool. There's like something sort of to do while you were killing enemies.
Yeah, it was like a wide open map.
And I don't know the like sandstorm thing that was happening. Was that like it felt like it was like resetting me back to my starting position or something? If I was like going too far off course, maybe.
I think it just put you in a random another spot. I don't think you always went back to the same space because I would go the same direction and I would end up somewhere else.
So it's just kind of moving you around.
When you kind of reached the invisible walls, it would hit you with that.
Yeah, I mean all the other stages were decent, but they all kind of felt like there wasn't anything too different about them. But the sand one was like, okay, that's kind of cool. It was like something else to do.
Yeah, I think the desert one was like the only stage where it kind of just felt like you just go wherever you want to.
Yeah,
Like-
a little more open-ended.
Yeah, it wasn't like a linear path really. You had to find like them little stones and then like activate a statue or something like that, which is kind of cool. Kind of gave you a break from killing stuff and you just walk around and try to collect a couple items.
The overall stages I thought they were all pretty cool. They're varied. They kept it interesting to look at. I mean, they did reuse some of the stuff, like the little dungeon-looking areas, but other than that, there was some cool scenery to look at, so it's not just the same boring thing moving from side to side.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the last level that had like floating platforms you had to walk across to like cross a stairway or something like that?
Yeah, that one's a little weird.
And like a dragon's on the side, like trying to like gusting wind at you, trying to blow you off the platforms.
Yeah, I was gonna get into that. There was one time, my second playthrough of the game, I actually just used my my little lightning cloud magic to just float across that whole room right to the end.
Yeah. I tried to tough it out and I was like, ah man, this is kind of getting on my nerves.
Yeah.
This thing keeps pushing me off. I didn't realize at first, like, I think the one platform, you step onto that and then you have to transfer to the next one to get to the steps, I think.
Yep.
Right.
Or you walk onto the other one and then I think you walk back to get the other side, but the one was like an inch away, so like I thought I could walk off and I ended up falling off and dying.
There's like a tiny little gap that you fall through.
Yeah, I didn't see that at first. I thought I could just step on one, ride it up there, and just go across. But you have to like switch between them a couple times.
Yeah, the moving platforms are really tiny, so those the little wind gusts the dragon hits you with are gonna really get in the way.
Yeah, I think I fell off a couple of times, and eventually I was like, I got sick of it, so I just waited till I died, and you have like a couple seconds of invulnerability. So when I died, it like spawned me like just right in the middle of like I was like floating, and then so I just walked across the thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's another stage too that has like the moving platforms over the big gap, and it spawned me right in the middle of the gap, and I didn't realize at first I could just move, so I just kind of stood there and died all over again.
Yeah, when I first came across that blue dragon on that stage, I thought that was like a boss. So I stood there at the bottom of the screen, and he'll like use his wings to blow on you, and then he'll like shoot like an electric beam diagonally. Then he'll come off the screen and come back to the other side. So we just go left and right. It was super easy to dodge him. So I just kept going back and forth, and you can actually attack him. I don't think he actually dies, but eventually he'll just go away, and then you can just freely cross without anything bothering you. But then at some point, while I was doing that, this other enemy, I forget what it was, it comes like out of nowhere from the stairs, like super fast, and he runs right up to you. If you're sitting there taking too long, he just like one-shots you and you die. I was like, dude, what was that? I'm sitting here fighting this dragon. This little guy just comes running out of nowhere and kills me in one hit. I was like, that was so dumb.
So I don't know why they let you damage that if that wasn't like a boss you had to fight. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know if there's a way to actually kill him, but he'll eventually just leave if you fight him for long enough down there.
The funny thing is, that section doesn't last long at all anyway. Like, he's there for like, if you just keep running, he's gone in like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's like, you don't even have to deal with him for very long in the first place.
Yeah, it just felt like you could attack him a couple times and like just make him go away for a couple of seconds so you could try to like get on one platform. Then when he comes back, you hit him a couple times so he goes away so you could like transfer platforms.
It's probably meant to be a challenge, but I mean, you can just skip right past the whole thing.
Yeah, what Jordan said was the right idea. You just use a transformation and just fly right across it, and nothing even hurts you.
Did you guys have to also do that in the... I don't know if it was a second level, or it was like a wall of fire that has treasure chests behind it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming you have to transform, right? And then you walk through that?
That's the only way I found through, yeah. I couldn't find any other way to deactivate that flame.
Okay, I don't know if you guys found like a switch somewhere. Or...
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, super early on.
I think after you get inside there and take the stuff, then it disappears.
Right, yeah, it deactivates it afterwards. But before you even get to that blue dragon, that's the final stage. But I thought that stage looked pretty awesome. You're like up in the sky, you can see like the clouds in the background. But that stage was freaking ridiculous. They swarmed you with so many enemies. It was insane. That was probably the biggest bullshit moment of this game.
Oh, yeah.
My game slowed down
Yeah.
super slow when I got to that part. If you don't kill anything, like, they just pile up. Like, I tried to keep running through it. Dude, I was going like 3 frames a second. I was like, whoa, my God.
Yeah, it felt like someone just like flipped a switch from like normal difficulty to like extreme difficulty.
Just out of nowhere.
Those mobs of enemies constantly coming after you.
And I died, right? I ran into the middle of all that as all the slowdown hit me. I actually died. I swear it took me like 15 seconds before I could select a character because it was going so slow. I was like, dude, I died like 15 seconds ago. I'm still waiting to select somebody. Like, can I hurry up and finish this animation?
It was one of the few times in the game where I kind of gave up on trying to save my magic for like the boss fights or something. I was so surrounded that I said, screw it. Let's just use our magic right here and now.
That's when the rock transformation was awesome because you could just keep jumping and just smashing everything the whole way through. You just keep hopping over the bridge and killing most of the enemies pretty easily. But the like I said, I played this a few times through, and the one time I was saving my magic for that spot, I had like 1 heart left, I think. You get like up to, I think, 6 hearts total for your health. I had like 1 heart left. I was like, all right, I just got to get to this spot and I'll be good. I had full magic. And like I got hit by something and something else and I died. I was like, no, since when you die, you lose all your magic, it resets. I'm like, well, not only did I die, but now I got to go through this whole section without any magic.
That's rough.
Yeah, I had it all planned out too, but it did not go according to plan at all.
I think there's another funny part in one of the cutscenes. I think it's one of the earlier ones. But like somebody says something like, "Oh, I think the dragon might still be nearby" or something like that. The next cutscene, the dragon's like, "I'm closer than that. I'm here."
Yeah, that's right in the beginning.
What kind of dialogue is that? I'm way closer than nearby. I'm actually right here.
The start of the very first stage. It's like the very first cutscene.
Is that what it is? I thought that was so funny. Like, why did the dragon just tell me he's here?
Well, it's the guy riding the dragon.
Oh, I thought the dragon said
No, the big bad of the game's riding the dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought like big old Smaug just came out like, I'm closer. I'm actually here. Okay.
Well, any of the other stages you guys want to talk about, or does that pretty much cover most of it?
I like how stage 3, the mini boss kind of takes a little page from The Legend of Zelda and the Dark Link fight, and you just pretty much essentially fight a copy of yourself.
Oh, yeah. That was a pretty cool one.
Yep.
Yeah, a little mirror match.
Yep. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, I guess might as well talk about the bosses and enemies then if you're bringing that up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
All right, well, this game did have a good amount of bosses, I thought. There was... First, you fight that red dragon Scott was talking about with the guy flying on it. There's like an alive tree. There's a mirror match. Then I think you refight that same dragon, but it's like bones and stuff because you killed it the first time. Then you gotta fight this Dracula-looking character with 2 gargoyles. There's the 2 giant stone men, a giant spider, the blue dragon that's not really a boss that we're talking about across the bridge, and then the final boss. So Jordan, you like the mirror match you had to fight there?
Yeah, that was a pretty cool one, just because it kind of takes me back to like Ocarina of Time and the Dark Link fight.
Yeah, I'm giving you a fist bump right now, Jordan.
Yeah,
you don't see it though.
Through the microphone.
But even if you die in that stage and use a continue and change your character, it'll change who you're fighting to, whatever character you pick. I was curious to that, so I switched just to see. And you don't fight like the previous enemy, you fight whatever you actually turn into. Any other favorite bosses out of those guys?
I'll say there's 2 that felt easier than the rest to me. That was the little demon tree kind of thing in stage 2. He seemed very easy because first of all, he's a tree. He doesn't move. Big surprise. But you can pretty much just kind of walk circles around him because I think his attacks only like shoot straight. So if you kind of just walk circles around him, attack, walk more, attack, his attacks will pretty much never touch you. And then the second one is the like the kind of dragon zombie that you mentioned. you have to hit him in the head, and then every now and then, after you hit him a few times, he'll kind of fall apart into a pile of bones, and then he'll kind of take a few seconds to reform himself. But in that amount of time, you can pretty much just walk up above where he's at and line yourself up for his head. So you're kind of just waiting there, ready to attack him as soon as he reforms again. So as soon as he's ready, you just launch a few more attacks, and he's down again right away. So those 2 fights were pretty easy once you knew what you were doing.
I think my favorite were the like the 2 stone men in like the gladiator looking arena. Those guys are pretty cool. They were like super menacing. They reminded me of like their movements and stuff of Dragon Ball Z when the androids show up. They're just kind of walking around like they're not scared of anything, and they just stop and shoot these blasts out of their hands. Those guys are pretty sweet.
You thought the knight was slow. Those things were unbelievably painfully slow, but they had crazy HP.
Yeah, they took forever to kill. And my favorite part is when you get close to him, he just like winds up and just tries to like punch you in the face. That was so funny looking.
Yep, that's his counter.
Whenever you get close to him, I would just get up close on purpose sometimes just to see him do it and then run away real quick.
I like those guys too. I thought in the beginning though, when I started fighting them, like I wasn't sure. Like I didn't realize they had like what seemed like some sort of like armor going on at first, because you'd be hitting them, but like you're not doing any damage to them. And like sometimes they would like it would give you that little red X, like almost like some of the other things you've seen in the stages where it's like it's basically just telling that you can't hurt this thing. But then like sometimes they would flash blue, so like I was hurting them, but their health still wasn't moving in the beginning. So I was like, am I like missing something? I was like, maybe I have to like separate them or have to like get them together and hit them both at the same time. But I think it was just you just had to keep hitting them, and eventually it just like broke their armor.
Well, you also had to hit them in the head. You wouldn't do damage. They wouldn't blink unless you hit them directly in the head.
Yeah. Well, I was only using the, powered attack on the knight that spins, so it hit their body and their head. So I was getting like both readings at once.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, they do have that ridiculously long bar, that white bar that goes down. It doesn't even show you it like going down forever until you get to like what actually seems like their real health. So that was kind of confusing.
Yeah, but I like those 2 guys. And then I think the final boss was kind of fun to fight. He had like a lot of things going on that you could dodge in different ways and fight enemies all at the same time.
Yeah, the final boss is actually that was like a satisfying final boss to actually kill. He just had so much stuff going on, summoning things at you. He throws like a weird like black hole thing at you. You have to move away from the ground it touches, or else it hits you. The spider boss is kind of cool. Also,
she was interesting. She was tough.
I thought she was annoying.
Yeah, that one was tricky. It was one of the harder ones.
It was fast.
There's certain angles you can get on her. There's like I don't know. There's weird ways you can like lure her around, but sometimes she catch you off guard, and you like especially when she splits when she gets low health. Now there's like 2 of them shooting like webs and beams at you and stuff. I thought she was pretty cool. It was a bit of a challenge.
I thought the final boss was a bit too spongy. Like you had to hit him for so long to kill him. And he would, like you said, he would keep respawning more enemies that would come around to get you. So you had to kind of prioritize those. Most of his stuff was easy to dodge, but his one attack, it's like this white orb. Like I think if it hits you, it one-shots you, or at least close to it. So you really got to be careful of that. And the enemies keep trying to swarm you. It was definitely an interesting fight, but I think it just went on a little bit too long.
Felt like I was fighting those rock guys like 3 times in a row.
Like
he just had so much health.
Oh,
HP wise, how long it took to kill him. The dude had a lot of health.
The pattern became pretty easy. It became kind of predictable, and kind of just knew how to beat him. Eventually, it just took so long.
You really had to be on top of those minion spawns though, or else they start piling up.
Yes.
I think like what's it summon 2 skeletons. You can like pretty much one shot those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other one takes a little bit more.
And he can poison you too.
You get caught dodging stuff. Yeah, he poisons you. If you get caught like dodging too much and not killing that thing, he'll bring another one, start stacking them up. So he was actually pretty tough, and he went on for quite a while.
One other thing I want to say about the like the 2 stone men that you had to fight. The one time when I got there, I had like full kitted out on the amulets, so I couldn't get stunned. And I forget what the other one was. They had another status effect to you, but neither. I think it was burning. They shoot like the flamethrowers out of their hands, so I was immune to the stun and the burn. And so I could pretty much just like run around and do whatever I want, because they'd smash the ground and it would stun you, so you had to like wiggle the joystick so you can move again. I don't know if there's a way to dodge that outside of just having the amulet, but whenever you have it, it makes it so nice, because that's what kind of screws you over sometimes whenever they stun you and you can't move.
That's kind of annoying too if you're the knight and you're already walking slow.
Yeah.
And they stun you and they get real close and they just punch you in the face.
And if you kill one, the second one gets a new move that just one-shots you. It turns you to stone and you just crumble and die.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so once you kill one, you got to be careful for the second one, because if you don't finish him off quick, if he hits you with that, you're dead.
But they have the same health bar, so how do you know when one's about to die?
I don't know. You just got to go back and forth, I guess.
Yeah.
It's weird. It doesn't make much sense.
I must have got lucky then, because I never experienced that.
I mean, it wasn't super hard to dodge, but it's just something extra they throw in there to watch out for.
I don't think I got petrified from that guy, but the Medusas have got me a couple times in the levels.
Like the flying ones off the side of the stage.
Yeah, little Medusa heads.
Yeah, this game didn't have a time limit, but if you stood around, each stage that kind of had like its own annoying flying enemy that comes seemingly out of nowhere. Like there's little bats, Medusa heads, I think dragonflies that shoot like little fireballs at you.
Dragonflies suck.
Yeah.
And they always seem to come like 2 at a time too, so those kept you moving. They were kind of annoying to deal with.
That's something I liked about this game, like a lot, was there's no timer.
Yes.
Like you can take your time doing stuff, get your bearings if you start getting messed up, like clear the level out, and then you have time to sit there, think about what's going on. Every so often you get them little random spawns that keep you moving, but it's not like that much of a big deal. They don't rush you that bad.
Well, guys, I think we covered most of what I wanted to get through. Anything else you want to bring up before we move on?
The knight, like in his bio, it says that the translation isn't great, so it just says the knight, and then it says hero of 1,000 battles, but his age is 28. So I'm trying to map this out. Like,
well, if the knight wrote that, it makes sense.
What
biography there?
Trying to think how he had time.
What I didn't get in the bios is it says all their ages, but then I think for the elf and the dwarf, it says 2 numbers for the ages. Like one will say like 500, then in parentheses will say like 18 or something.
I think I'm just guessing here, but I think they're trying to like go like in elf years, and then maybe that's in human years or something.
That's what I was thinking. Something weird like that. I want to point out that it might be stage 3 or something, but there's a zombie enemy that looks exactly like Michael Jackson in Thriller.
I did not realize
like the
that.
red outfit and everything, like the Jerry curl hair and everything, dude. I swear, it's just Michael Jackson from Thriller. I meant to find it.
The zombies and the mummies and stuff. That's kind of what gives this game more of the fall into the Halloween category this year for us.
Yeah,
it's hard to find Halloween games, man. We went through that when we were first starting this, trying to find like holiday episodes.
Right.
Same with Christmas. There's like no Halloween or Christmas games. You just kind of gotta
slim pickings
find
for
one
sure.
thing in there.
So how'd you guys feel about the difficulty of this game overall? Because it definitely felt pretty difficult at times, but it wasn't like outzone difficult where like I wasn't sure if I was even going to finish the game. Like I could tell I could definitely get through this one, but the difficulty felt like it was on the higher end of the spectrum of the games we've played.
I thought in the first couple stages it was easy until it kind of hit that switch point we were talking about. Well, you know what I mean? Where all of a sudden it would like switch difficulties to like extreme mode. And I was like, okay, this is like a lot going on that wasn't happening before.
Yeah, it came in bursts. Overall, I thought it was pretty middling, maybe a little above average difficulty, just because of those certain spikes. I mean, a lot of the game you kind of run through without dying for a little while, then you'd hit that point where it's like, how am I supposed to get through this without dying?
Yeah, it definitely felt more. Wasn't super easy. It was probably more the middle, leaning onto like the more difficult side. I thought it was just right though. I mean, token count first playthrough is definitely high.
Yeah, I feel like the token count's a little high for being such a short game.
I mean, I'm sure this seems like it's easily doable to like, I don't know, at least under 5 credits if you put the time into it.
Jeez.
Well, let's just move right into it. We're already talking about the credits. You guys ready
Let's
to do
do
it?
Go for it.
All right, Kyle, you're excited. Let's hear your credit count. How many credits did it take you to finish Wizard Fire?
It took me 19.
Nice, and that was my first playthrough with the Bard. I did it in 19 as well, and then I played it again with the Dwarf, got it down to 16, and then finally with the Knight, I got it down to 12. I think partially
Nicely
I was
done.
getting a little better with each play, but also the characters I think were a little better than the last as well, so it kind of made it a little easier on both ends for me there.
Well, I know the way I was talking, it made it sound like maybe that I got it in around 5 credits. I'd like to tell you that's not true. I'm just saying it could very well happen, but
Someone
it did
could do
not
it.
happen. It didn't happen for me.
Someone could do it, just not Sky.
Nah, not today. Maybe if I play it again a couple times, I think I could. But I did 2 runs. My first one was 17, and I felt like I was too high, and I wanted to try it again. Yeah, and I wanted to try like all the other classes out. So my first run, I kind of experimented with everybody. My second run, I just mainly used a knight just about the whole time, and I didn't do too much better. I got 15 on my second run, so
Not bad. All right, Jordan, bring it home. What do you got for us?
Yeah, this one feels bad. I'm at 23.
Not terrible.
That's completely understandable.
I wish I knew the night morning star trick.
Yeah, that makes the game so much easier.
Oh well, it is what it is.
It's like one of the more. It's not the most difficult game we played, but I don't know, the difficulty's there for sure. Like it's like a high credit count game when you first.
My
play
first
it.
one was 24.
Yeah, if you master that attacking and like the spells, like using the right one when you want, you would knock so many credits off that play.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's move into our personal ratings then. This game takes place in the year 355 AD, so we are rating it out of 355. Guess I'll go first on this. I gave it a 201 out of 355. I thought it was pretty fun. I mean, there was a lot of variance with the enemies, the stages, and the bosses, but just like some of those difficulty spikes didn't really seem too fair. They're kind of a little bit annoying, but I don't know. I had some fun with it. Wasn't the best game we played, but it definitely wasn't terrible. What do you guys got for us? Kyle, you got your rating?
I'd probably give this maybe like a 230. I thought it was fun. Like didn't take that long. I didn't think it was super hard. Like I said, the first couple stages felt pretty easy, and then like there was like a little bit of a ramp up at the end. I felt like it kind of gave you like a little while to get used to everything, and then it was like, okay, like now it's time to play the game. The bosses were all fairly decent. They had pretty readable patterns. Like I could definitely see you, if you play it multiple times, like you could get through these things on a pretty low credit usage. End boss was actually pretty decent. Gave you 5 different characters to pick from. They were all pretty different as far as how they all played, and like different bonuses to each one and their attacks. They have like a normal attack and like a charge up attack. The magic thing's kind of weird. I don't really like that it like cycles magic abilities, because this is like, I mean, thing like all about these games is like timing, and like if I need to use my special at a certain point and you just cycle through to a pig, like I'm not really down for that. So that's kind of weird, but yeah, overall I think for an arcade game at its time, like it's pretty cool.
All right, Sky, what about you?
I think I'm gonna give it maybe about a 250. I think it was more fun than a lot of the other games we played. Had decent variety to get 5 characters, even though they all kind of have like maybe the same range, maybe almost the same play style, except the knight, who really kind of crushed everything with that AoE attack. But it was still fun to check out all the other classes and stuff, the transformations. It actually had little cutscenes and voice acting. Wasn't the best voice acting, but it was there, I guess.
I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. The bosses are fun. Some of them are a little more challenging. I thought the final boss was pretty good, like as far as difficulty is. Maybe slightly annoying, but overall it's a pretty fun game. I liked it.
All right, Jordan, how about you?
Highest credits, highest score. We're gonna go and give this one a 270 out of 355. This one was this was up there for the fun factor. I feel like no like nostalgia or anything for it, like there are for some games. I've never even heard of this game before, but it was a fun time. I think maybe like the biggest gripe I have about it, just like since it's one of those, what's it called, like isometric or whatever. It's like 8 directions. It's kind of goofy to control sometimes, but overall, it's still this is definitely like closer to my kind of game than like maybe like the platformers and stuff that we do. So I had a good time with it, and I like anything that has like a good class system. So you got those like different the classes, the knights, the wizards, the elves, all that. So I enjoyed it. Bad voice acting and stupid knight aside, so we'll give it a solid 270.
All right, sounds good. We're all pretty decent middling, a little above the middle, I guess, for our rating. So let's see if we can agree on our ranking. We have
can never do that.
26 other games. Yeah, let's see if we can do it this week. Where do you guys think this one slots in with the rest of the games we played? I'm thinking somewhere in like the 13-ish range is where I start off.
I'd do 13.
I was thinking somewhere up there. My initial thought was like maybe at number 10 or somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere close to that. I could see between
too.
10 and like 13.
Yeah, same.
Kyle, how you feeling?
Yeah, I mean somewhere in that like 12, 13 area, I think. I'm just looking. That Joe and Mac at 10 is criminal, dude. What happened?
Man, you guys have been trashing Joe and Mac these weeks.
I'd definitely rather play this than Cross Swords, I can tell you that.
I'm just looking at the list, and I was like, okay, I can see it there, I can see it there. And I hit Joe and Mac at 10, and I'm like, dude, someone's got to go to jail for this.
Can we swap?
Oh my god.
We swap Joe and Mac and Dead Connection, because I love Dead Connection.
Oh, man.
And I don't know how that happened, but anyway. Yeah, I'm thinking like Shadow Force probably honestly was a little better of a game than this. This game was like, I felt pretty simple.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like, yeah, I could be cool with like 13.
If you're looking at 13, I think I might personally like Zybot's a little better, but if you guys are all above it,
Definitely
we can go
above that.
Well, you'll put anything above it pretty much. That's one of your lower end games, isn't it,
That
Jordan?
was awful.
That game was great. You know what? Actually, this game should be 23.
Actually.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, below SD Gundam.
Nah, this game was good.
If there's anybody who's made it this far through all 4 episodes, they know our list is kind of in the moment all over the place. Like,
Yeah.
It won't make any sense later.
it's not 100% like a viable source to rate the games or whatever.
You know, I do so much with 4 different opinions, so it's
Yeah.
gotta
We
work
kind
with
of
it.
sometimes we compromise a little bit, or it's majority rules, so it's going to be all over the place. Like, I would put this game above the Punisher for sure, but
What?
I don't.
Ooh.
Really?
Me personally, I would. I didn't. I thought the Punisher was kind of boring.
You're kind of boring.
Man, I love that game.
I don't know. Punisher is cool, but just the game I thought was just basic beat 'em up kind of.
I
That was
loved
like a
it.
top 5 game for me, to be honest.
I loved it. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
rather that'd be way higher.
It wasn't terrible. I liked a couple things about it, but I don't know. It's not one of my favorites. So yeah, I don't know. I could see it around like 12 or 13.
Just above or below Shadow Force. I wish I could remember. Well, Shadow Force wasn't so long ago now. I can't remember it like super
Like,
super
that
well.
also had like different characters, different classes you could pick and stuff. Kind of
You could like transform into the enemies. I remember that.
Yeah, like fighting game combos and stuff is pretty unique.
I'm cool with this at like 13.
I agree, dude. 13.
Right under Shadow Force?
That's
Yep.
fine. Yeah.
Sky, you cool settling there? Or are you going to fight for something else?
I could see it 13 or 14. Zybots is legit. Jordan's out of his mind.
Right?
No
Yeah,
way.
that's- We might have to fight for Zybots, actually.
That
What's
game
going on
is
here?
dated as hell.
Gonna keep getting bumped.
Bro, they're all dated. They're arcade games. All this stuff came out in like the 80s. Come on,
That
bro.
one felt like it was made on the
Yeah.
first
90s.
computer ever made.
All right, Sky, we gonna fight for Zybots, or we just gonna settle here?
You're gonna settle.
Oh man, I don't.
What do you think?
Ooh, oh boy. I mean, they're such completely different games, but Zybots, just in its own kind of style, was an awesome game to play.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know either one.
They seem a little more passionate about this over Zybots. So I mean, I like Zybots better, but I'm all right with it.
I have
getting bumped
so
one,
much-
I think.
So much passion for this, dude.
We can do that.
Showing,
Let's put
Kyle.
it,
I can feel your passion.
let's put it
through
at
the screen.
13.
All right, let's lock it in. We got Shadow Force at 12, Wizard Fire at 13, and Zybots at 14. Jordan, let's finally get to some trivia.
Okay, I suppose we can. So let's start it off here with the leaderboard. Sky, you're still leading the way at 49. Brad, you're coming up in second at 40. Bringing up the rear, Kyle has 35. Let's close that gap a little bit today, boys. Let's see what we can do. Question number 1. Kyle, you're in last place, but if anyone's going to get this one right, I would hope it's you. All 5 playable characters actually do have names, as you can see in their bio. What is the first name of the knight? A. Nolan. B. Marcus. C. Carl.
Like an A or B, I'm just going to go with Nolan.
Okay.
I feel like Marcus sounds more like it.
All right. Is that your answer?
Would it really be Carl? Would it really be Carl the Knight?
That would be weird.
I don't know. Marcus sounds like a knight name. I'm gonna go with Marcus.
Okay. And Kyle, what you got?
Well, what do we have here?
Oh no, he knows it.
I'm going.
Better
I'm,
not be
I'm
Carl.
going with my boy Carl.
Dude, get out of here. Jordan, tell me it's not true.
His name is Carl the Knight, baby.
What?
Get out of here.
His
Don't
name is
ever-
Carl.
Don't
What's his
underestimate
last name?
Carl, dude.
What's his last name again? Like Carl, like Great
Greystone.
something or whatever. Greystone, yeah, Carl Greystone.
Dude, Marcus
baby.
Greystone would have sounded way cooler.
Yeah, but dude, we're
That's
going
crazy.
to Carl, baby.
Carl felt like a name Jordan made up.
Oh, I know.
It's like trick us.
That's what made it so great.
That's not fair because they have the same name.
Oh, dude, wait till we get to question 3. Question 3 is even weirder.
Don't talk bad on Carl, dude. He's been in 1,000 battles.
Come on.
All right, before we're doing this for 1,000 hours, let's move on to question number 2. Wizard Fire is a sequel to a game called Gate of Doom or Dark Seal in Japan. What character class was in the original game that did not appear in Wizard Fire? A. Archer. B. Ninja. C, paladin?
I'm going to have to say the ninja.
Okay.
I'm also going ninja.
All right.
I'm going to go archer.
The correct answer is the ninja. You guys know that one or just guess?
Womp.
Yeah, I saw that somewhere.
Guy, did you know that one?
No, that was the only Japanese class you listed, so.
Fair enough. Good call. This one's a fun one. So, question number 3. Inside the tomb in stage 4, you can actually see English words carved upside down into the walls. Which of the following are one of the engravings that you can find? A, Data East, B, the Care Bears, or C, Volov was here?
Wow. I feel like they would have put Volov was here, like a little joke in their game.
Is that your answer?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay.
I feel like there's no way it's this, but this feels like one that Jordan wouldn't have made up because it would have been too off the walls. We're going with the Care Bears.
All right.
This is a tricky one, boys.
Are you sure it didn't say Carl?
I think it's
Carl.
Carl, to be honest.
Carl.
But,
Carl was there.
I don't know why I'm doing this, dude, but I'm going with the Care Bears.
Let's go.
Glad you did, because the correct answer is the Care Bears.
Nice.
No way. What?
Why?
That's so
You
random.
can find the words, in specific, the Care Bears, carved into the wall, upside down. Yep.
That's funny.
I forget what a few of the other ones were. I know there was, like, one of them was a name of one of their other big games, and there's a few other just really random things, but the Care Bears definitely stuck out.
Was that just like a random mention, or did they have something to do with the Care Bears?
A connection.
I can't imagine there was some kind of connection. I feel like it was just a very random thing that they tossed in there.
Just giving them a shout out.
Hey guys, big
Random
fans of
shout
your
out.
work.
Just kill this dragon. And by the way, shout out to the Care Bears.
Shout out to the Care Bears.
I feel like now at the end of every episode, we got to shout out the Care Bears.
I'll try to remember that. All right, Sky, you got 50 points. Brad, you're at 42. Kyle, you're at 37. Brad, send us home.
Alrighty. Jordan was talking about this game was a little bit difficult, and now this is more of his game, and he's not really much of a platformer guy. He's not gonna have much fun next time for our next
I picked it.
final Halloween game this year. What's that, Jordan?
I picked it.
Yeah, you're gonna regret that because we are playing Ghosts and Goblins. Well, that wraps up episode 27. This marks our 1 year for the podcast. So for everyone listening, thanks for checking us out. If you could spread the good word of Arcadiology and even just tell someone else to give us a listen, like maybe find your favorite episode or a game you think they'd like, we'd appreciate that. So you can do that for us. And also you can follow us on social media at Arcadiology, send questions or comments to arcadiologyquestions@gmail.com, or there's a form in the description. We'd like to possibly read some of those on the episode, answer questions or comments about games, whatever you guys want. But that's it. Let's get out of here, guys.
Later, dudes.
All right, shout out to the Care Bears.
As the dwarf would say, goodbye! I'm closer. I'm actually here.
Down.
I'll smash that soundbite to bits, dude.
I'll smash it to bits.